like to call the meeting to order. Would you all please rise and join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular March meeting of the Edgar County Board. Mr. County Clerk, would you call the roll?
Luddington. Patrick. Bruner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
Lawton.
Here.
Voigt.
Here. We do have a quorum. So, moving right along, we have the minutes from the February 10th regular meeting. You had that. What's your pleasure? Are there any additions or corrections to that, to those minutes? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Ellis moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They do carry. Claims against the county. Likewise, you've had those. I had a couple of explanations on those being reassigned to the correct line items. So half of that's already done. I checked with Don this morning, and the other 10,000 is going to be taking place here as soon as Ross gets it lined out. So part of that will be in last year's and part will be in this year's. So we'll accrue that according to when they were charged. Anyway, any questions or clarifications on claims? Hearing none, motion to approve those claims. Ellis moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They do carry. County board member claims. Any questions? Clarifications? Hearing none. Motion to approve. Dan moves. Ellis seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We have come before to the portion of the meeting where we ask for public comment. We have a roster up there. We ask that you identify yourself and take no longer than 5 minutes to make your presentation or your thoughts known. Are there any public comments, please? Hearing none, we'll go along to item 8, highway resolution authorizing the chairman to sign amendment to preliminary engineering agreement with Cummins Engineering. The Lower Terre Haute Road is the item in question. Do you have any comments? We discussed that on Monday morning. Did you want to give a brief synopsis so the audience might understand what we're going to pass?
We're just putting an amendment in place with Cummins for the preliminary engineering as we're working through the process of getting this thing through the coordination meeting, the early involvement with the Federal Highway Administration. We meet with them this afternoon, and that will determine how much more work will be involved.
Thank you. Any other questions or clarifications on the board's part? Hearing none, motion to approve the resolution, please. Dan moves. Russ seconds. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
And Lawton.
Yes.
Okay, it does carry. Next, we are going to deal with the bid for the ambulance service for special service area number 2, which would be the northern 6 townships. We're authorizing the clerk to publish those specifications. But we have the chairman of the committee, Derek Lorenzen, here this morning, and I know there's been a couple of things discussed. So, where are we at, Derek?
You want me to stand in the fire
You
line,
can
or-
stand wherever you want, Derek,
Look, better stand.
Or you can sit wherever you want.
Yeah.
or sit wherever you
Oh,
want.
fine,
Yeah.
I'll stand. Get it. Keep it professional. So that was something we discussed. I mean, that's the thing that we haven't really tread over. So I mean, I think that's perfectly reasonable and over to the committee. Andy's he's not here today, but it was discussed about adding some sort of language laying out a response time. Previously, when we had done the bid spec, we did not have that in there. I don't remember if it would be a point of contention, but it was something that was discussed. We put it in the contract, and it would be probably a question for Mark whether or not certain things. How specifically do you have to lay out the points in a bid spec as it pertains to a contract? I mean, is it down to the most minuscule point, or is it something that there's some latitude there? I mean, I assume that both parties can come to an agreement there, and I mean, I don't know. Basically, long story short, I don't have a problem putting in should language, or at least setting some sort of expectation in the bid spec if that's the pleasure of the board. So,
If we turn it over to asking Mark is gonna say you can't hold their feet to the fire unless if it's in the bid spec. That's what Mark's gonna say,
sure.
okay? I don't wanna speak for Mark, but we've had other questions like that. If it's not in the bid, they can do it if they want to, but they don't have to, okay?
So, I mean, that would be the only change that I am aware of that it was discussed.
How
So,
critical do we think that is, folks?
To me personally, it is critical, putting some type of minimum amount, if they wanted to, if we put 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5, and if they want to do it within 1 minute, that's fine, but to me, we need to set some type of standard
Threshold.
that they have to meet, that we feel is reasonable.
And I
Is a contract with Paris is for 1 minute response. No, it's 1. Because if it's less than 1 minute, if it's more than 1 minute, then you're subject to a fine, yes it is.
bring out the scrolls.
So we can pull the contract, that's fine.
Either way, what I would say is
1 minute.
that there's other things in there that I think that are currently in this bid spec that are of less consequence than a response time. So what I said to Carl earlier was should language, I have no problem putting in there shall. I would start to question whether or not that would limit our potential bidders or cause problems down the road. So, but I mean,
That's my concern,
Yeah.
speaking, is that we have as many bidders as we can.
sure. So I mean, it sounds like we could all agree on that. If we put in a line in this bid spec, a should, apparently it's under 4 minutes currently. So if we put in, it is expected that response time from the contractor should be 4 minutes or less. I think that's,
To be clear, Derek, that's from the time they get the call to the time the ambulances are rolling, right? Is that
yeah,
correct?
I mean, from what is,
Dispatch to en route.
there you go.
Right, that's what, I didn't have
Sounds
the
cooler-
technical
sounds
terms
cooler
like
when
you
he says
do. Would that satisfy everybody on this board? Can you get Augie, can we amend the motion, whoever makes it, to include the 4-minute wording? And then maybe you tell Augie where to insert that.
Yeah, I'll
Extra-
send him an updated copy and we'll spin around. Everybody's good with it. We'll make that the final copy. if that's-
Thank you, Carl, by the way. I think it's important too, but we need as many bidders as we can get to.
Yeah. Anything else, anyone else saw changes that might be necessary? Any just, scrivener's errors,
You
anything
said
like that?
you did have people interested. What happens if no one's interested?
Back to the drawing board, put out another bid spec,
Okay.
is my expectation. I mean, that's not my role necessarily, but.
Yes, Dan, that's how we saw it, but
Pardon?
that's how we saw it, is we'd have to go back to the, originally, we were just gonna say, here it is, we're gonna do it fairly uptight, and the committee came up with, I think, a brilliant move to to come up with a broad enough bid spec that we can attract, hopefully, some bidders.
Yeah.
So, I'm very, very appreciative of the committee. Thank you.
No worries. You good?
Yep.
I'll correct myself. The contract does say 2 minutes. I thought it was.
Let it be recorded.
Yeah.
Carl admitted he
Adam
was
was wrong.
wrong.
Gary, did you get that?
Guys, we're all into that category. Okay, are we ready to pass the motion to put this out on bids? Is everybody comfortable at this point with that discussion and what we're gonna add and ready to move on this? If so, can we have a motion?
We'll make that motion.
Carl, thank you. And you're gonna get together with Augie when it's, as soon as it's possible for you and business and everything else. We appreciate it. Is there a second to that motion? Lisa seconds. Any further discussion, folks? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We have 100% vote there, okay? All right, moving along. And I'm sure there'll be some discussion about the first appointee here, but the public, thank you, Derek. Public Health Department Board, we have a couple of terms to deal with. John McNary and the doctor are both being reappointed through December 31st, 23. And the reason Dan is different is because our board representation is based on 2-year basis. So Dan would be through November 30th, 22. Are there any questions or anything you'd like to say? Hello, Phil. Show that Phil Ludington is present.
And counted for.
This is your big chance to vote against Berner if you want.
What's the?
To put him back on the health board.
Oh, what's it took?
Okay, do we have a motion and seriously to reappoint Carl moves to reappoint and Russ seconds. Further discussion?
Do I have to leave the room?
Only if you want to. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You can't vote.
All right. They are reappointed. Might be a good time to, we have quite a few boards, we have quite a few citizens that volunteer their time as they feel it's their civic duty, and like to extend our appreciation to all of those people. And there are quite a few of them in this community and county that spend a lot of time and a great deal of interest for the public good, and we want to note that the public, or the county board, appreciates them. Department heads? Augie?
The only update I have is that now we are up to 19 early voters.
Oh, 5 more, huh?
Yeah. So, other than that,
Yeah, let's make,
Yes, sir.
see that, or could I ask him a question?
Sure.
Do we have a slate of who's running? I haven't seen one.
well, certainly, you can have one. We just got that a couple days ago. It's a master sample ballot, and it will have everything on it, but also understand that there are 100 different ballot styles. And so that they've come up with the master ballot. Now I have it posted on our website. So if that's
fine.
if that's okay with you, just go to
I just wondered.
edgarcountyillinois.com and it's there. Otherwise, I can make you a copy and
That's right. I just want to put in the paper.
So it's township and school boards?
townships, villages, school boards, a couple libraries, fire protection district, Chrisman.
So it is villages?
It is.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Some village, like Chrisman isn't.
Well, Chrisman's not a village.
City?
Excuse me. Yeah, we have 2 cities, Paris and Chrisman. Everything else is a village.
When do they come up?
2 years.
2 years, okay. And they would be in the spring?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
23.
Okay. Thank you, Augie. Or any more questions, Augie? Aaron?
I have nothing unless the board has any questions for the highway department.
We're getting close to being able to asphalt around the parking in the jail. I wanted to let people know so that we can plan on that, and if anybody has any questions about that, direct it to me or to Aaron, okay? But we've got some, what would you call it? Close
Temporary-
estimates,
temporary surface. Yeah, oh yeah.
so we're
If there's
gonna move.
questions, we've gone with a light duty design.
Yeah, light duty and heavier on the alley, right?
Yep, because there were some folks that questioned why we could do that.
Yeah, not knowing what the
Right.
future's gonna hold. Adam, do you have anything you wanna add to your report from Monday morning?
We are actually slated to receive our mechanical CPR devices today, so we'll have 2 of those, so another asset to the community. Those devices we put on the patient that needs CPR and push a button and it continues CPR for as long as we want it, so we take out the provider fatigue aspect of CPR, so it's definitely an asset to the community, so we're looking forward to having both those get here today. But nothing else for Monday,
Okay,
unless you guys have questions for me.
folks. Over there in the corner, trying to hide, is Jeremy Neal. He is the director of the Northern Edgar County Ambulance Service. Did you have anything you wish to say today? We do appreciate you supplying us with that information that you did yesterday, okay? On runs and so forth, so that helped clarify it, and we appreciate that. Wyatt, Farm Bureau? Anything?
Just here, if you need anything from me.
We appreciate that.
Do
Yes.
have one phone room report, did we vote on
Well, maybe in May or June.
that? Okay.
We're gonna have another meeting here shortly. We're trying to seek, we were supposed to get more information and we haven't gotten it, so we're just gonna go ahead and meet and come up with, I think we've got everything nailed down. Lisa, please correct me if I'm wrong. We've got everything pretty well nailed down except the distance from primary structures that are not part of the program. And those are the folks that we want to seek to either include in the project by the companies or make sure that we offer them optimum protection. Is that correct?
Well said.
Okay, so that's where we're being very meticulous. John's helping us all. It's Lisa, John, and I. And Wyatt has contributed, and so has the Farm Bureau attorneys. And we've had several other people, citizens, that have supplied information. We're starting to hear more and more, here and there. So we'll be coming up with the, yes, Wyatt?
Is there anything from the first one that you put in place, a couple months ago versus now outside of setbacks that you're looking at?
Yeah, there's been several things, hasn't there? We've clarified, tightened up. Let's see, we did the flicker. We worried about flicker and noise.
Cooperation and coordination with local emergency services and fire departments.
Right. And I,
Decommission, that's been,
I'm sorry, please, go ahead.
okay.
No, go ahead, I couldn't hear you.
Decommission.
Decommissioning, we have not budged much on that because of, we have not budged on that much because of our commitment to keeping the taxpayers out of harm's way in 20 or 25 years. I know that some people would like to become involved, but the law leaves it open, and that's the way we want to leave it at this time. We really feel that over the next 10, 15 years, that you look at the changes in the last 10 since we did the original one, or 09. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of changes in this, okay?
Okay.
All right. We're doing the best we can, doesn't mean that we're doing perfect, And, once we open it up and show it to people, if there's things that can be done that would tighten it up even more, we're flexible, okay? And that's something that's gonna have to be reviewed every 2 or 3 years, not every 10. That's not acceptable. And then we'll move on to probably solar farms, okay? Because we're gluttons for punishment.
I keep
Carl
reading
wanted
in
to
the
say
campaign
something
paper.
first. Carl,
Okay.
then
You haven't met with this other company yet, have you?
we were going to,
Right, I did.
COVID issue, and they were supposed to get back to them, and it's not our job, we'd like to hear from them, but
Right.
we're not gonna go begging to somebody,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
Is that right? I mean,
Right.
okay, yes, Dan, I'm sorry.
Campaign paper, I read quite a bit about counties that have solar farms. They put restrictions on them such as they don't want companies coming in. So they make it so tight that there's no companies bidding on putting in solar farms. Like Pike County and Iroquois and some of those counties.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 counties that have basically said, here's our designs and our ordinances, and that's basically what it means.
Right.
Anything else, Wyatt?
We are getting more calls from farmers, landowners about solar, so we are looking into that. We'll see what we can put together down the road.
That would be great. Anything that you could input to us would be excellent,
Yeah.
okay?
That's more than,
We just wanna get past this,
yeah,
and then, not that we don't care about the other, it just,
right.
it seems to be on our front doorstep. Although we've got that deal next door, the next county over, that, I mean, that's quite a project going.
By Kansas,
Yeah, it's
That's
west of Kansas.
you can't even see the other end of it from behind me.
But I noticed they're expanding, but it's all going to the west and north, not coming towards Edgar. You know, the county line's really close, but I noticed they haven't come towards Edgar County.
That
yet.
fenced off area, like it's toward Edgar County, I mean, that's where they're gonna put them too, isn't it, looks like to me.
Mhm.
But that's still, like you said, it's still pretty,
Folks coming.
this year, I never seen it that big,
Well, at any rate, it's on the radar, guys.
much bigger.
Okay, committee reports, or did I miss any? Okay, Dan, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not really, I was getting some calls about vaccines, so I was gonna talk to Janet this morning. There are a couple
Yeah, I had
calls.
asked Dan, just so you'll know, there's been some older folks,
Mhm.
and I don't know whether, who knows, it doesn't matter, but somehow they've gotten overlooked or somehow because maybe they didn't call in correctly, or, you know, if you're registering 1,000 people, you're gonna have an error. But at any rate, I'm just asking that if they now have somebody, number one, people should be able to call in, not come in, and they're not taking calls.
Right.
And we need to prioritize the 80-year-olds. If we got an 84-year-old that somehow his first round got messed up, then they ought to go back to them,
Right.
okay?
I could check their list. They
Right,
have those.
and I just,
Are they doing, they are, sure they're doing that, aren't they? They
I
told
don't-
me when I went down there, if somebody would have to call in that's older, whether I've already called in or not, they put that ahead, and they should.
well, I'm just wanna make sure, cause I know of two in the Chrisman area that have gone in a second time. They had to go in and make an appointment.
But they
And-
got in,
No, they haven't gotten in yet. And I know I just wanna make sure that
I agree.
we're thinking about that. Somehow
I
we
really
need to
don't
get the
know
phone
what
lines
age.
back
Last
open.
time I talked to Janet, they were down to high 70s on age to get the shots, so.
Well,
I just had a call out, you saw me talking on the phone, that was some person that was 77 and she hadn't been called in to get her shot yet. I
okay.
don't know, I'll talk to Janet soon. Maybe I'll have her call you, since you get along real well with her.
Sometimes. No, I get along with
I do
Janet.
too, I do too, I just kidding. I
People
just
like
kidding.
old people, you know?
Talking about,
Okay,
That's all I got.
okay.
so do you have any report other than slamming me?
No,
Me?
Yeah,
No, that's the high point of my day. From here on, it gets downhill.
Russ,
uh,
Lisa,
7:08 board met to reorganize without Ned there at the helm.
Weird,
And
isn't it?
it was strange.
Yeah.
And it was good to get together and to learn more about that. That's it.
Okay.
That one has the room out at the new place. How's that doing? Have you heard?
They still have a long waiting list.
Oh, right. So they're actually doing pretty well.
They are doing well. They always need more counselors.
Mhm.
It's hard to find the qualifications for the areas that they need.
Yeah. I think that was out in the paper about the room.
We just go down.
I thought it was, that was a good article.
The living room, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a good working relationship with the hospital ER
Mhm.
for people who need additional
Yeah, 'cause
services.
when I worked there, they'd sit there 2 or 3 days and nobody would take those people, so
Yeah.
at least it worked out better, so. I guess you know what we're talking about?
I'm sorry, I wasn't even paying attention. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
You see
there'll
where I get
still
on
be
it?
people who need to be
Lisa can explain it.
transferred to inpatient facilities,
Yeah.
but if you don't need additional inpatient service, then it works well to work with HRC and get people across the driveway.
It's like people come in ER, they have mental problems. Used
And
to
they
be, we
go-
had no place for them to go because nobody would take them. Now they have a room right across from ER that they
I got
go
a
to.
tour of that place, that's
Right.
fantastic.
It is.
Right.
And there's more than one room there, there's several rooms that are available and they're,
Yeah.
what do they call those rooms that are they don't challenge you. I mean, they're not antiseptic, they're not
Yeah.
institutional at all.
Right.
In other words, they're to calm, quiet,
Go talk to
offer
somebody.
peace.
Right.
and get people.
He did in my house.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was there is a new program that this Indiana and, well, there's a consortium of states that are coming up with this, and that's to adjust the use of force mentality in police officers. And we have an opportunity to send one of our sheriff's department people over to Indiana to get them in this training program. It's roughly $1,000, but Derek is recommending it. It's about $850 for the actual course, and another $150 for the room and board. I'm sorry. So Clayton is the one that is slated to go first. Derek wanted me to mention it to the board to see how they felt about it. They could obviously go ahead and just do it, but they're kind of asking and want our opinion on it. It's a new kind of a attitude adjustment and philosophy of how to approach the subjugation or whatever you would say of a prisoner and or suspect, that's less confrontational but still falls within the safety of the officer. The insurance company, and I've got a call into them, they think it sounds good, they may even help support us on that. So I didn't know, I'm looking at Carl because I know you haven't heard any, I just heard about it yesterday.
So he can't, when he goes, he can't be trained and come back and train our guys, or does each individual have to go to it? You see what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah, well, we don't know that yet,
Okay.
okay? Derek does want to go, and he can go in, well, I guess I have the answer. He can go into an additional thing and then get certified, and then he can work with our officers also.
That was my hope, you know, that we could just send one person and then come back and
Right,
do the whole
Maybe the right
crew.
one for
right. Clayton said he's gonna go whether
All right.
we pay for anything or not. And I said, well, let me talk to the fellow board members and see how they feel about it, so.
They shouldn't have to pay for it.
I think it's a
It's
good
gonna help
idea.
us.
If we can get one good thing, said, if the insurance company, we're constantly looking, not that we are kowtowing to the insurance company, but if they're excited about it, we need to look at every way possible, especially with this new law, to mitigate its effect and still get the jobs done that we need to do for the public and maintain the officer's safety. So I don't see how, you know, for a grand or two that it's not worth a shot at it, okay? Sorry, I could have done a better job explaining. This thing, I was over in Don's office, he went on the phone and he didn't have copies made. But I'll have one sent out to you, Carl, and electronically sent to the rest of you. But basically, it's the best looking one I've seen in quite a few years. And there's a couple things on there, and Augie and I talked to, the election fund right now is about 14,500 in the hole. But we expected that. We've got more money coming in. We've paid for the voter equipment in January. So it's all gonna come out in the end fine. But I just wanted to point that out to you. Do you have anything to say about that, Augie?
No, I spent money I didn't have, and Don covered me.
Let's move.
Darn it.
So we've got a grant coming in, approximately 22,000. That's gonna more than obviously offset that, so.
Plus you have a couple of checks that you hadn't gotten to Don's yet.
Yes, and I got a couple small checks that are
Like
still-
6 or 7 grand, so it's not near, but things sometimes look worse just before they get better,
So
whatever.
are you having new equipment for this election? Is that,
No, it's just what we used 2 years ago.
okay,
Yeah.
And we did a 5-year,
payout?
right, and
Okay.
we just paid out the second year, is that right, or third?
Well, we made a payment initially,
Okay,
or actually we borrowed less. So, 3 payments,
all right.
3 payments.
All right, and then we also, and I haven't worked it out yet, we have the police vehicle fund that's showing a negative 36.8. And we'll get that taken care of. I haven't been able to meet with the sheriff for the last week or so. He's had some not personal issues, but he's had some things he needed to take care of for his family, and this'll keep, and we'll get it squared away where he's got some other funds that probably were things were put in the wrong funds, and we'll get that squared away. So if you see a negative 36.8, you'll know why that's there. At any rate, everything looks fine. As far as last year's budget, we're still accruing, or Don, I'm not doing anything, Don is accruing some stuff. We did finally get the last of the taxes in and everything associated with that and the drainage districts. We've still got to accrue, I think, 3 days for the sheriff's department and the 30th for all the departments. Does not, we still do, oh, I got the wrong darn thing here, hang on. There we are. So, anyway, we're almost done. We've still got 12,000 to come in, probably another 30,000 to go into last year that's just recently come in. Most of the funds, including probation, there's only 1 month missing from last year. At this point, we're about 621,000 last year to the good, which I wish we didn't have already owe the 600 or 550. So basically that pulls us about even for time for the last 10 years. So, yes, sir.
Have we completely paid down the debt that we inherited about 8 years?
That's what I was just talking about.
Okay, good.
Yes, that is gone.
Good.
That is gone.
Okay, good.
Somebody's doing a good job at it. Good.
And do we have a percentage of people that could not afford or did not pay their real estate taxes?
Start with the first part of that again.
Do we have a idea how many people did not pay their taxes?
Actually, we had less tax sale items than we've had in the last couple of years. Okay?
Even with the
Now,
pandemic?
for example, even with the pandemic, now our fees and late fees and all that are about half. So we did save the taxpayers well over $15,000 the way we did it, so they could make it more comfortable for themselves when they pay the taxes. So that worked.
Sound like worked all just like you wanted to work.
Yeah. I mean, we did the best we could, given the laws that we have to maintain,
Right.
so.
Good.
Anyway, as far as the CARES Act, we'll have to see how that winds up. It's gonna be, for us, the county, it's gonna be administered through the federal government. It does not come through the state, like I told you, I think, at the meeting. So we'll have to wait and see how much our allotment is. I do believe, and so does our staff, that some of that money has to be distributed 60 days after it's signed. So if Biden signs it, President Biden signs it on Friday, they've got 60 days to get it out to us, and then half of it. And then the other 60 days, the rest of it comes in 6 months from then. So basically, in 8 months, we'll have our allotment. We have to find out whether that allotment's coming totally to us, or whether it'll be split between the health department and us. I have no idea. But I'll keep you posted as I know, okay? Anything else to come before the meeting this morning? Yes, Carl?
When you talk to Andy, sometime in the next week or so, we need to have a sheriff's committee meeting.
I told Derek that yesterday.
Yeah. And also, I talked to the maintenance guy, and he said that Andy had mentioned about having a meeting with the building and grounds, and he's got a few issues, nothing major, but we need to also pass on to Andy, we need to schedule a meeting for building and grounds to discuss stuff with him.
Maybe we can do those kind of back-to-back or something. They need to be done like Tuesday or Wednesday next week. That's how I saw it. That's what I told Derek. Yes, sir.
I just remembered something when you mentioned building and grounds. We just bought a flammable cabinet for our chemicals that are stored in the basement. The insurance company, when they did that walkthrough a couple months ago or so, one of the recommendations was we need to store that safely, all those chemicals that are just sitting on the shelf. And so Andy and Ray talked, and long story short, we got it in. It is a big, heavy cabinet, and Ray has it situated down in the janitor's room. So I just wanted to update you on that, that requirement has been met. And so we're good there. So he might bring that up at your meeting, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay. Anything
Talk
else?
about that, you know that money that we get back from the insurance company, don't we get that annually?
We do.
Even though we're not part of that anymore?
Well, we are part of the Illinois Public Risk Fund.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did not spend last year's allocation.
That's something we also need to
We
talk
need to be
about
looking
and
at how to,
get some ideas on how we need to spend it, what on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's been some concrete work done, or it looks like there is, on these slabs on the stairs. There's still that area out here in the center is it the center stairs? Where there's a big, it's eroding the concrete. We need to get that fixed. But it looks like there's some fresh concrete, or he sanded the concrete or something.
I haven't been on that side.
Okay, noted, Carl. Anything else, folks?
Closed session or no?
No, we're okay, I think. Motion to adjourn, please. Russ moves. Phil finally seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you, folks. We're adjourned.
Stressful.
We traveled both.
Jeff, you talked to Derek, I just sent you an email, Michael's